If it's Monday night, oh yes it is. Ridiculously Raw. Hello friends, it's Ridiculously Over Anthony Floyo, the man who tells it like it is. Back with you for another edition of Ridiculously Raw. Glad to have you with us. Joined by my esteemed colleagues, of course, Girl MF, Michael Fletcher, the host of the Cerebral Smack Talk, as well as the phenom, Michael Bowick. The First Lady of the Wrestling Forum, the Twisted Angel, Didi Woodson, will not be joining us tonight or tomorrow because she has family commitments, as you know. So hopefully we'll have her back on with us next week for something, but we'll keep you posted. But for right now, the three of us are going to navigate you through this, what I hate to call a back to reality edition of Monday Night Raw, coming off a halfway decent Survivor Series, which included, of course, the greatest traditional Survivor Series elimination match ever seen last night. We were wondering what was going to be the fallout from this event, from the event tonight, and well, we got our answer. For the third consecutive night, we were live from the Air Canada Centre in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Saturday night, of course, we had NXT TakeOver Toronto, and then Sunday night, last night, Survivor Series, and then the 3-day weekend concluded with Monday Night Raw, and we started it off with an in-ring segment. Bill Goldberg, of course, fresh off his unbelievable and somewhat controversial victory over Brock Lesnar. I mean, beating him in 1 minute and 26 seconds. He comes out and he makes a stunning announcement. It was stunning to the viewers. It may have been stunning to the viewers in Toronto, but it was not stunning to the three of us. Heck, it was Girl MF, Michael Fletcher, who first reported this as we were wrapping up our Survivor Series recap show last night, or I don't know if it was behind the scenes, but Goldberg announced that he is throwing his name, his hat has been thrown into the ring for the 30-man Royal Rumble match. Of course, you know the Royal Rumble will be on Sunday night, January the 29th at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio on the WWE Network, and we have our first entrant into the 30-man Royal Rumble match. Bill Goldberg basically cuts a promo and says, you know, Stephanie McMahon asked me point blank, do you have another title run left in you? And he was like, hell yeah, I got another title run left in me. And there you go. So, but in order to get to the title, he's got to go through 29 other men and win the Royal Rumble match. He does that, he's got himself a title shot at WrestleMania 33. At the Citrus Bowl in Orlando, April 2nd of 2017. Now, I don't know if it'll be strictly for the Universal Championship or if it's going to be like it used to be in the old brand extension. Whoever wins gets the title, gets to challenge the champion of his choosing, whether it's the Universal Champion of Monday Night Raw or the WWE World Champion from SmackDown. Because right now you got Kevin Owens and AJ Styles. Or do we? Well, again, I'll explain that in a little bit. But this was a very good segment. And getting into my liner notes here. Good segment with the Goldberg Love Fest continuing where it left off at Survivor Series. Goldberg flubbed the line at the end of the promo, but he was likable and believable. Putting him in the actual Rumble match is interesting. It presumably protects him from having to do a long match. And presumably saves the rematch with Lesnar for WrestleMania. The lingo that Cole used didn't give any tips as to whether the Rumble winner has to face the champion of his brand. They let the winner choose which champion he wanted to face when the brand split was in play in the past, so it'll be interesting to see if that's the case again. I don't believe Goldberg will be challenging for the championship, but I do hope that somewhere down the road, Kevin Owens at least gets some camera time with him, because that could be some fun stuff right there. So to me, I would have to say second best segment of the night on my end. So with that being said, I'm going to throw it up now to not only the host of the Cerebral Smack Talk, but the man who who broke the news last night. I don't remember if it was during our show last night or if it was during our behind the scenes chat, but good old MF, Michael Fletcher, come on in. Goldberg has thrown it down. You reported it. He confirmed it. Goldberg in the Royal Rumble match. What are your thoughts on that?
Boy, do I like when my sources are spot on. Good job, guys. Extra $20 for you tonight. No, this was a good segment. This was very good. I like what Goldberg was saying. It was solid for the most part. It was what you expected Goldberg to say. He, like you said, he was riding high after beating Brock Lesnar in 84 seconds. But like I said, the sources were saying that WWE wanted Goldberg to beat Lesnar convincingly, dominantly, because there was a bigger payoff. The bigger payoff was Goldberg was going to be in the Royal Rumble match. And that's why he signed a part-time contract, so he was going to be at the Rumble match and be a part of it. Unfortunately, though, this is where it gets a little murky. I think Goldberg will not win the Royal Rumble. I think Brock Lesnar will also be in the Rumble match. And that is, like you said, they're protecting him right now. But in the grand scheme of things, I actually think WWE might do a tag team match to protect Goldberg and Lesnar, where I think it'll be Goldberg and Shane McMahon versus Brock Lesnar and somebody else at WrestleMania. The reason why I say that is because, remember, Shane McMahon wants his hands on Brock Lesnar for what he did at SummerSlam. Goldberg, obviously, Lesnar is going to want a piece of Goldberg after he basically humiliated him last night in Toronto at the Survivor Series. So why not kill two birds with one stone? Goldberg and Shane McMahon as a tag team against Brock Lesnar and anybody that wants in on that fight, and set that up for WrestleMania at the Citrus Bowl on April 2nd. That's just my thoughts and my thoughts only. So, Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yes, I do agree. I mean, I thought this was a good segment, and yeah, Goldberg, now the first entrant into the 2017 Royal Rumble match. You said no surprise. Of course, we all knew about it. I mean, the crowd in Toronto was surprised about it. I mean, Stephanie McMahon meeting with Goldberg after the match and asked him, "Do you have one more title run?" And he said, "Yep." So he's now in the Royal Rumble match. So, but I do agree with Michael Fletcher on this one. I just don't see Goldberg winning this one. I think they're gonna protect him and save him for WrestleMania. So we'll wait and see how it all transpires. But anyway, a good segment to start off Monday Night Raw. So Florio, let's move on.
And we move on to our first match of the evening, and what a way to start off the wrestling action on the show tonight for the WWE Tag Team Championship. Champions, The New Day. Day number 456, going up against Sheamus and Cesaro. This match was, of course, made by Mick Foley and Stephanie McMahon last night at Survivor Series in a backstage segment. And the winners of the match in 11 minutes and 50 seconds. And still, come on, Bullock, you know you want to do it. Your WWE
World Tag Team Champions.
Because
New
Day Rocks. Come on, Bullock, you know what to do. New Day Rocks. Hit it.
Woo! Woo!
MF, how do you follow that?
I was doing the shimmy, and I was doing the Antoine Walker shimmy down while you guys were doing that. I'm gonna say this. I'm a little upset. I'm sorry. As much as I love the New Day, and I do, I'm a little upset. I kind of thought that tonight should have been the night we should have had new tag team champions, and to really make matters worse, about taking the easy way out. I'm gonna say it. I hate to do this, but Kofi, you tapped out to the sharpshooter, but the referee got distracted with Francesca number 2. That gave Cesaro. Cesaro released the hold. Xavier Woods does the roll. Then the next thing you know, it's the dreaded roll up of doom. 1, 2, 3, done. Fight over. And I can't believe it. The New Day went back and they acted a little heel-like the way they won the fight tonight. I'm sorry. I'm not happy with it. I didn't like it. Look, good match, solid fight, but I hate to do this to you guys. I can only give it 2 to 2.5 stars. I was thinking that this fight could have been a little more better, but I'm sorry, guys. I got nothing good to say about it. I just hate the fact that the New Day is still the tag champions. I think they're trying to break the record. I think they're literally going for the record now because Michael Cole acknowledged it, that they are definitely going for the record. I'm just a little disappointed. I thought, to me, honestly, I would have been more happy to see new tag team champions here, but it is what it is. We're going to have to deal with it. Bullock, I'll give it to you.
I'm gonna give it 2.5 stars. I mean, I still think it was a good match. I mean, yeah, the finish was a little clunky. No doubt about it, and it was a little disappointing that we didn't get new tag team champions. But the body of work of the match was still good for what it was in the amount of time that it got. We all were thinking tonight was going to be the night that the New Day's reign as tag team champions was going to come to an end, but nope. And it seems like they are attempting to break that record for Demolition, but eventually I want to see this tag team championship run come to an end. Who's going to do it? Well, we'll just have to wait and see. But 2.5 stars is my rating. Florio, I give it to you.
Well, Bullock, I'm going to give it the rating that I told you earlier that I was going to give it when we had to cut our raw chat short tonight because I had some.
It was three stars. So I'm going to give it like 2.5 to 3 stars. So I stand corrected.
Fair enough. 3 stars for me, like I said. I would probably say second best fight of the night, honestly. And like MF said, boy, New Day were total heels there. Does WWE understand that or not care because they were against Cesaro there? I'm not against New Day getting so full of themselves and perhaps even more obnoxious to turn full-fledged heel again. I sense their act is wearing thin with a part of the audience that used to cheer everything they did. I'm not sure it's particularly defensible that the ref left the side of a submission hold to complain about the noise, though. The announcers are so neutral to a fault. Nobody is decrying that New Day retained via a means that had nothing to do with who the better wrestlers were this night. They treat cheating like that as just part of strategy. And when that's the default narrative, it makes it so much harder for heels to get heat. And that's this is going to be the $1 million question. Was that a New Day heel turn? They were booed by the crowd, and even Byron Saxton didn't defend them when Corey Graves tore into the way they won. I have no idea where they are going with the trio, but one wouldn't think they would turn them prior to breaking the record. And now I'm starting to think maybe they are going to actually break Axe and Smash's records. So that's really all there is to say about that. So we're going to move on, and we've got some cutouts now. What's a ridiculously Raw show without cutouts? And this one works out because, as you know, last night, if you didn't watch our Survivor Series recap show, Michael Bullock made a decree that when it came to a certain division, that he was not only refraining from commenting on it, but he's also going as far as to boycott it. And we're talking about the cruiserweight division. And we had a matchup, Cedric Alexander against Arya Davari. Winner of the match in 3 minutes and 15 seconds. It was Cedric Alexander. I'm not gonna waste your boys' time. I know you guys don't want to get into it, and because I mean we all still have that bad taste in our mouths after what happened last night in that cruiserweight match with Kendrick and Kalisto. But I'll give a quick liner note. You know, it was nice to hear Davari get a chance to speak in an attempt to generate some heat. WWE continues to put all the baby faces over everyone other than Kendrick. Here's hoping the company does a better job of developing stronger heels once 205 Live starts next week. So that's a quick little
And I want to jump in with my little lighter note here, Florio. I actually think the 205 show is actually a godsend, because if the Cruiserweight gets their own show, if you book it right, and they also said Corey Graves is going to be on this show.
Yes.
So that means we're going to get possibly Mauro Ranallo and Corey Graves together. This might actually be the shot in the arm that this division needs. This will be the shot in the arm, because do you know how many people's been dying to hear Corey Graves and Mauro Ranallo together as a unit?
Good point.
This would be the greatest thing. I'm going to tell you right now, they are the next JR and King. I'm going to go that far to say it. Corey Graves is probably one of the best color commentators in WWE today. And Mauro Ranallo is the future voice of the WWE. You
Amen.
Put those two together, you got Gorilla and Jesse, and JR and the King. You got the future of WWE. Period. And a quotation and a statement. Go.
Fair enough. If I was going to give a rating for that match, I would actually give it 2 stars. I mean, short but fine for the time given. I really wish that they would open up if they are only getting that much time. So that's really all there is to say. Now we're going to move on to the highlight reel. We had Chris Jericho, talking about what happened to the list. Of course, the list of Jericho got destroyed last night at Survivor Series. Kevin Owens used it to attack AJ Styles, as AJ Styles was going for a Styles clash on Chris Jericho during that epic Survivor Series match last night, and got himself disqualified. And then moments later, Jericho would be eliminated after an RKO out of nowhere by Fletcher's boy, Randy Orton. And Randy Orton continuing to add to his Survivor Series legacy as the greatest traditional Survivor Series match performer ever. His 5th win, by the way. But this was the highlight reel. Jericho would then be interrupted by the Universal Champion Kevin Owens, and then would also be interrupted by Seth Rollins. And then a brawl breaks out, and then out comes Roman Reigns out to the aid of his, I guess you could say, frenemy, as you could call it right now, Seth Rollins. And that would bring out General Manager Mick Foley. Mick Foley saw enough. And Mick Foley says, hey, Seth, Stephanie and I, we promised you certain perks if we promised you certain favors if you agree to join our Monday Night Raw team for Survivor Series. And well, the future is now. That future opportunity, and Mick Foley made the main event for Raw right then and there. Seth Rollins getting yet another shot at the Universal Championship against Kevin Owens in a no disqualification match with Chris Jericho and Roman Reigns both banned from ringside. So I think I pretty much laid out all the schematics here. Michael Bullock, we started off with you. Wow, what a segment. That's all I can say.
Yeah, this was a really good segment here. I mean, mean, Jericho, of course, complaining about the list being used as a weapon last night at the Survivor Series, and of course Kevin Owens comes out, and we all thought that they were really were going back and forth in each other, but nope, it was all thrown for we. They threw us all for a loop, and they were still the best of friends. And then Seth Rollins comes out and confronts both of them, and then they start brawling, and then out comes Roman Reigns to help out his frenemy, and then Mick Foley, like you said, comes out and basically puts an end to the melee and says, you know what, Seth? Steph and I promised you to reward you for being on Team Raw for the Survivor Series, and the future is now. Tonight, you defend the the WWE Universal title against Seth Rollins in a no disqualification match, but with Roman Reigns and Chris Jericho banned from ringside. What happens in that main event? Well, you'll just have to wait and hear our result, what we thought of it. But all in all, a really good segment here. So, Florio, I give it to you.
Segment of the night. That was a lot of fun. Jericho and Owens always entertain. They set up the main event and also the two top singles programs. They accomplished a lot in that. And it's very rare that Monday Night Raw actually does something that SmackDown Live is more known for, storyline progression. And we actually saw some storyline progression here on Raw, which has always been one of their weak spots, their biggest weak spot since Brand Extension 2.0 started 4 months ago. But they actually did it here, and I'm going to tell you a quick little thing. If you didn't see the Survivor Series pre-show last night, they had the social media lounge. You know, you had Tom Phillips in there, and he had Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho on that. All I can say is you got to watch that. If you're in for you're going to be in for a lot of laughs. I mean, I honestly could not stop laughing during that. That thing was so freaking hilarious, and this was just as good. I mean, they teased tension, they teased a possible breakup and a possible feud, but they pointed the finger at Roman Reigns, and that was it. But the fans cheered the announcement of the title match, and not because Reigns being banned from ringside. And the no DQ element left people assuming somebody would interfere. And one even said, could it have been time for Triple H to return? I don't know. But nonetheless, the segment of the night, I mean, absolutely delivered. And Monday Night Raw with some actual storyline progression, which I, honest to God, could not believe. Great entertaining prank by Jericho and Owens, but it doesn't remove the larger issue that Seth is being damaged by feuding with two popular, entertaining heels. Reigns is beyond repair, but that continues to be an elephant in the room wherever Vince McDinkleberg is. So that's really all there is to say on that segment of the night, far and away. So, MF, what was how did that segment come off to you? I mean, was that the segment of the night in your eyes, like it was for me and Bullock, or what?
It was really good. I mean, there's no argument here. It came out so good that even I was impressed. And normally, and you know me, I'm a very tough critic, being a SmackDown guy and everything else. So yes, my loyalty is to SmackDown Live, but it looked like they pulled a couple of pages from, like you said, the SmackDown playbook, storyline progression, actual good segment, something that really made me very pleased, and the whole 9 yards. And I'm sorry, I thought it was a really good really good, and I love the interaction between Jericho and Kevin Owens. Obviously, Jericho is well into the WWE universe. And I think one of my friends even said it. He's like, I can't believe how good Jericho is, and on top of that, he's like, Jericho has become like he's reinvented himself. This new gimmick, the drink it in, the life of Jericho, and the list. It's like man, Jericho, you've been in the game for what, over 20 years, probably longer than that, and you're still doing it at your age, at the time that you're doing it, you're putting in the work. Your character is, I mean, we went from, I mean, way back in the day, from the WCW days, when he was Lionheart Chris Jericho, and then he was the King of the World Jericho when he became the undisputed World Wrestling Federation champion going into WrestleMania 18, and now 10 years, and now fast forward now, and he is, this has to be the best gimmick, the best character for Jericho I have seen in my entire life. And this is why I love Jericho. And Owens is such a believable champion as the Universal Champion. I mean, there's really nothing bad to say about him either. So the whole dynamic is just absolutely amazing. It's awesome. Nothing bad to say. So guys, let's just move on.
Yeah, we could go on for days about that, but we don't have time to do that. I mean, I know I don't. So, all right, let's move on now. And we go back to the cutouts here. Interesting. This was an interesting little situation here. Rusev with Lana going in a one-on-one match with, of all people, Enzo Amore. Of course, flaked by his partner, Big Cass. There was a rather distasteful backstage segment, which I'm not going to get into. I mean, you have to see.
It was not PG.
No, it was not.
Oh no, it was. We were channeling the Attitude Era days. I loved it.
The F view, the Eric Bischoff, almost like. I mean, that's what I kind of felt like it was. I mean, let's just say we got to see more of Enzo than we wanted to see. But I'm sure a lot of baby girls out there, well, I'm sure they were liking what they saw. Simple as that. So, yeah, an interesting angle. And then Lana ended up showing up, and then Rusev, of course, being the provider and the husband, or as I like to oftentimes call it, bodyguard, if you will. And then it led into a match with Rusev and Enzo. And Rusev won the match in 55 seconds. Far and away the worst fight of the night. Absolute dud. But I will say this, though. Rusev does need more wins like that, coming off the latest failed attempt to beat Roman Reigns. But it looks like they're possibly setting up Rusev against Big Cass. And that's really all there is to say about that. So it was basically a squash for Rusev, and slowly build him up and, slowly build him back up. Simple as that. So, all right, next up, a number one contenders match for the WWE Tag Team Championship. We had Luke Gallows and the Machine Gun Carl Anderson going up against the Golden Truth. And the winners of the match in 6 minutes and 5 seconds. And the number one contenders for the WWE Tag Team Championship, Luke Gallows and the Machine Gun Carl Anderson. They win it with the Magic Killer. I'm going to leave it up to these guys. Do you guys want to get into it, or do you want to consider this a cutout?
Pass.
All right.
Could get two you-know-whats about it.
Fair enough. So yeah, that's it. Gallows and Anderson go over. They beat the Golden Truth, and like I said, I'll do a quick liner note on this. I'll actually give it 2 stars for the effort. Of all the matches on this show, this was one of them. I like the idea of New Day having to go through team after team each week to get to the record. But it would have meant more if they hadn't lost so many non-title matches as of late. This just lacked the fire of guys actually fighting for something, which they were, but you couldn't tell by the in-rings. So yeah, the outcome was never in doubt. Let's not kid ourselves. Everybody and their mother knew the club was going to win this fight. So Anderson and it's going to go down next Monday night in Charlotte, North Carolina. The club will get another shot at the New Day for the WWE Tag Team Championship, and New Day will be going on day number 463, as they are 2 weeks away. And well, as of now, they're 3 weeks away, but by come next week, they'll be 2 weeks away from possibly breaking the unbreakable record of Demolition. So keep an eye out for that. Next up, one-on-one match. Braun Strowman going up against Sami Zayn. Of course, this was, I hate to say it, but a punishment match for Sami Zayn, since Sami Zayn did not win the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. I mean, Stephanie was the brainchild behind this one. Mick Foley was, I know Mick was probably very reluctant to do it, but obviously he had no choice because he knew if he didn't, probably Stephanie would have had his head for it. But you had to put, you have to consider this a punishment match. And Sami Zayn had to go up against Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman won it in 4 minutes and 20 seconds. I'm sure you guys don't want to get into that. I mean, I think we could consider this a cutout as well. And
I'll just make a brief note about it. Dominating performance by Braun Strowman. That was basically what Stephanie wanted that to be. Basically, like you said, punishment for Sami Zayn, not winning the Intercontinental Championship, not bringing the belt to Monday Night Raw. It's the infamous Anthony Florio. And unfortunately, Sami Zayn, he was punished, and that's what I do expect we're gonna see tomorrow night on SmackDown Live. Expect some punishment being dished out on the SmackDown end for some things that actually went down last night. And one person who's literally at the top of that list is one Baron Corbin. But like I said, we'll get into that later, because I actually have a big announcement for the Cerebral Smack Talk that I know you're definitely gonna like, Anthony Florio. So we'll get into that later on.
All right, fair enough. Can't wait to hear what you got to say. Don't spoil it. So we'll get into that later. So this is actually another 2-star match. I mean, they put a lot of work into making Braun Strowman a monster, including at Survivor Series. He looked like a killer there, and Sami is such a great and sympathetic babyface that he sold this exactly the way it needed to be sold. The goal was to put Strowman over as a monster, and this did a great job of that. So that's it for that. So, all right, then we have a 2-for-1 deal here. We had an in-ring segment with the WWE Women's Champion Charlotte, along with her protege Dana Brooke, basically explaining the reasoning behind her attack of Bayley after her and Bayley were the sole survivors for the Raw women last night, as the Monday Night Raw ladies defeated the ladies of SmackDown Live in the first of those 3 traditional Survivor Series matches, which ended up being the very first match on the main cards. So that's all there is to say on that. They basically, talked about it, and then from there, they get interrupted by Sasha Banks. And Sasha Banks says, "I got a rematch clause. I want to invoke it." And so I was like, okay, but not tonight. How about next week in my hometown of Charlotte, North Carolina? And then Nia Jax gets involved. And then after that, Jax and Dana Brooke and Charlotte, a 3-on-1 beatdown of Bayley of Sasha Banks, and then Bayley comes out and makes the save, and then it led into a tag team match with Charlotte and Nia Jax going up against Bayley and Sasha Banks, And the winners of the match in 5 minutes and 45 seconds, Bayley and Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks wins it with the Banks statement. So I'll say it like this. As far as the segment goes, third best segment of the night. I like that they finally got Jackson in the mix. The division needed to move beyond Charlotte, Banks, and Bayley. And as far as the match goes, again, theme of the night, 2-star match, another solid but forgettable match. So that's really all I can say on that. So, gentlemen, if you want to, do you guys want to chip in on this? I mean, do you want to do both?
No, I want in. I want this. I'm in.
You want to do both or one or what?
I'll do both. First off, I love the fact how Charlotte was basically plagiarizing to the fans. I love how she was, giving that, trying to give that oomph about him, saying how she was better than Wayne Gretzky. I mean, whoa. Okay, wait a minute, woman. First off, you just disgrace. You just try to take a shot at one of the greatest hockey players of all time, who's obviously Canadian. Now, Toronto. Okay, you're not gonna get ripped to shreds because it's Toronto, Ontario, Canada. You say that in Edmonton, they would have your head on a silver platter. They would want your head. Your pretty little blonde head would be ripped to shreds. I'm guarantee you that much. Then with Sasha coming out saying, "Hey, I want another shot," this and that. Hey, it would have been cool to see them fight one more time in Toronto. It'd be good. But think about this. This time around, Charlotte versus Sasha in her own backyard. This time around. Think about this. Sasha went into Boston and lost the belt. Sasha was the champion going into her hometown, and she ended up losing the belt. This is what I'm thinking. You can follow me if you want or not. What if WWE does the unthinkable and has Sasha win the belt in Charlotte's hometown? I mean,
could happen. It's happened twice before on Raw. I mean, the first, think about it, the very first Monday Night Raw of the brand extension, July 25th in Pittsburgh, Sasha Banks beat Charlotte in what we considered, I believe it was like a 3.5 to 4-star match, which was a phenomenal match. Definitely one of our top 10 women's matches of the year. And then I believe it was on October 3, if I recall correctly. I think it was October 3rd. Staples Center, Los Angeles. WWE did the unthinkable and actually had the balls to have them main event that show. And boy, howdy, they delivered again. Another 3.5 to 4. I don't think they're going to main event next week in Charlotte, but I don't know, MF. I think the third time is going to be the charm for Charlotte. I think Charlotte's going to retain because I think the next big money feud in the women's division is Charlotte and Bayley, based on Bayley getting the big win at Survivor Series. Just my thought.
True, granted, but you also got to remember Nia Jax is now in the picture, and why not? Why don't you try a Nia Jax Sasha Banks WWE Championship match? Now, of course, a lot of people are going to be like, well, not yet. Let's give it time. But you want to also break away a little bit from that triangle that they're doing, because it looks like they're really being too heavy relied on the 4 horsewomen. I think so. When you got 3/4 of the 4 horsewomen and they're really pushing that, really emphasizing on those 3 and pushing the others to the side, I think that's somewhat of a disservice, at least in my eyes, because there are some other women in that division that at least deserves a look, at least consideration. But right now, Nia Jax and what she did in the Survivor Series match last night. Come on, guys. Don't you think that at least she gets at least a look at the title sometime down the line? Just my thoughts alone. As far as the fight goes, it was a good match. I mean, as far as to say 2.5 stars in my eyes. So I don't know. We'll wait and see what happens, but I just thought it was really good. All right, if Bullock wants to go, you can go. If you're not, then we'll move on.
Yeah, I'll talk about it as well. Yeah, I like the segment. this was a good segment. I mean, Charlotte playing that major heel role. Calling the people peasants and all that, and saying that she was proud of what she did to Bayley after their match at they were the sole survivors, and then Sasha Banks, like you said, she comes out and basically is like, you know what, I want my shot at the women's championship. And Charlotte's like, all right, you'll get it, but it'll be next week in my hometown. And then, like you said, Nia Jax comes out and makes her presence felt, and saying that she's nothing more, that Sasha Banks is nothing more than a purple-haired Barbie doll. And I was like, whoa. I'm like, if Fletcher was listening to that, he was probably like, sorry, Nia Jax, she's anything but that. So watch what you're saying, you little, well, you know what I would probably say, but this is a PG show, and I'm not going.
You would be able to get away with that on Cerebral Smack Talk. Like I said, you would gotten away with that on my show.
If we were doing it on your page, Fletch, I'd probably get away with that. But on this show, no way, no way I get away with that. And then it looks like it's a 3-on-1 beatdown. Bayley comes out, and as far as the match goes, I'll say 2 to 2.5 stars. I mean, great work by both teams. So yeah, and as far as next week goes, I do have Charlotte retaining the title, and obviously I think Bayley's going to get the next shot, but I wouldn't be surprised that if Nia Jax gets a shot down the road. When? I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see, but I think it'll take some time to groom her into the title picture. So that's really all I can say. So fine segment, 2 to 2.5 stars is my rating on the match. So let's just move on, Florida.
Now we move on to another number one contenders match. This time in the cruiserweight division. So Michael Bullock, I know you're gonna want a breather on that. So I'll let you chill on this one. I don't know if MF's gonna want to get involved, but I'm certainly gonna get involved in it. Number one contenders match for the Cruiserweight Championship. Noam Dar versus TJ Perkins versus Rich Swann. The winner of the match in 6.5 minutes. And the number one contender for the Cruiserweight Championship, Rich Swann. Rich Swann gets the next shot at Brian Kendrick in the Cruiserweight Championship. Yeah. Now, we already know Bullock's not going to want in on it, but MF, do you want in on it, or do you want me to just take it?
No, I'll take it. I'll definitely jump in. You know what? Rich Swann has deserved it. You know, he's gotten a couple of wins already against D. Brian Kendrick, and the reason why I'm applauding is because I like this matchup. Rich Swann has proven himself worthy enough for the opportunity, and this is what the WWE needs. New blood, new talent, guys who can definitely push the envelope a little bit, and I really feel optimistic about this fight. Now, even though I think this would be good, and I don't know how it's going to play out overall, but I think this is going to be a good match, something that I can't wait to see. And plus, go figure, the inaugural edition of the 205, Anthony, this is why I wanted you to do this show. Even though I know Michael Bullock would say, no, you shouldn't do it. You're going to have a championship fight on your very first show, and you don't want to cover that? I'm sorry, Michael Bullock. I know you're on this sit-down strike and whatever on the cruiserweight division, but I had my feelings about checking out, checking back in, so I was always on the fence about it. A fight like this actually gets me intrigued enough to watch the 205 when it happens. So no doubt about it, I definitely am intrigued enough to see the first episode and at least see how it comes out. But we'll wait and see what happens then. But this is going to be a very good match. I can't wait to see it. And like we said, Rich Swann has already gotten a couple of victories on D. Brian Kendrick. So we just got to wait and see if that's going to happen or not. So with that said, I'm going to give it about 2.5 to 3 stars. I thought this was a really good match. So, Anthony, it's yours.
I'll pull the trigger. Solid 3 stars for me. I enjoyed it. It was fun, had good energy, and beyond the shadow of a doubt, the right guy won. I mean, TJP, I love TJP, don't get me wrong, but I'm glad that they're giving somebody else a shot for a change. And that's really all there is for me to say on that. And that's I think I pretty much had my say on that. I had another liner note that I wanted to throw in on that. 3 baby faces competing for a shot at the title. No overall story was really told. They all had beefs with Kendrick and none with one another. Who were the fans supposed to cheer? They didn't know, so they sat there and reacted to a few of the flashier spots. But nonetheless, though, very good match, though. This is another one of the few top fights of the night. I probably would say maybe third best fight of the night, if I'm being real honest. So that's pretty much all I can say on that. And now, gentlemen, it is main event time. The no disqualification match for the WWE Universal Championship. Champion Kevin Owens defending the title against Seth Rollins. His reward, if you will, for teaming up with the guys at Survivor Series. The winner of the match in either 23 minutes and 5 seconds or 23 minutes and 15 seconds. And still, Universal Champion Kevin Owens. Owens retains the title. Do you guys know who leads off on this one? Because little snake bit here. I'm trying to remember. You know what? MF started off on the cruiserweight fight, so I'm gonna have Michael Bullock started off. So Michael Bullock, Kevin Owens successfully defends the Universal title against Seth Rollins in over 23 minutes to successfully defend the Universal title in this no disqualification match. But unfortunately, a certain proprietor of a certain list and a man who has made the 2 words of stupid idiot a household name decided to rear his ugly head one more time.
This was an awesome match, but damn it to hell, they had to freaking blow it. And Chris Jericho, once again, even though he was banned from ringside, decides, you know what? Screw your rules. I'm sticking my nose in this match because this is my best friend. And hey, if I get fined for it, so be it. But damn it to hell, this was so good. And this is the way it ends. Are you freaking kidding me, WWE? This is how you're going to end a great matchup like this? No, I don't like it. It's stupid, and I am so pissed off on it. If we were on Fletcher's channel, I go off in a big way, but I'm gonna be nice about it. But as far as my rating for this, I'm sorry, I'm only giving it 2 to 2.5 stars as my rating on the match. I mean, the ending just freaking killed it. I mean, and that's what I'm so upset about. I know some people she's saying, "Oh, you shouldn't really punish them, and you should still give it a good rating." No, I mean, the match was good, no doubt about it, but the ending, I just hated it. So I'm really punishing them and giving it only 2 to 2.5 stars. So, and you want to know who's behind all this? Vince McDinkleberg and Kevin Bucktooth Beaver Dunn, who had to ruin a damn good match like this. I got nothing more to say. Florio, go.
Now you remember last night we're about to have the same thing that we had last night, where Bullock severely underscored a bout because of a clunky finish, whereas I gave it a rating that he felt was ridiculously high. And I hate to do it to you, Bullock, but I'm going to do it again. I know the ending had left a lot to be desired. I get it, but initially I was going to give this between 4 to 4.25 initially, but because of the finish, I'm going to drop it down to between 3.5 and 3.75. It was, I mean, don't get me wrong, this was the fight of the night. Let's not kid ourselves. This was the fight of the night. And main event that breathed some life into the Owens-Rollins feud. The Jericho interference, yes, it was a groaner, but the broadcast team laid it on so thick that you have to assume that they are setting up something. There was no sign of the advertised and rumored Owens versus Reigns match for Roadblock, but there's still time if they want to move in that direction. And that's pretty much all I can. I mean, I get heels winning by cheating. I don't have a big issue with it, but I also think Owens could be presented better as champion. This was an overall very good main event with a great crowd and both guys working the stipulation well, creating some very good near falls. And yes, there was that little element of Shakespearean drama in this bout. So, but the only true gripe I have is Kevin Owens is somewhat becoming like a Charlotte Flair, retaining a championship not by doing so on his own, but has to have help to do it. I mean, we've gotten on Charlotte Flair because of the outside interference. First, it was Ric Flair, her father, and then nowadays Dana Brooke. I mean, we've been very critical about how Charlotte goes about retaining her women's championship. I think we need to start getting on Kevin Owens now, because Kevin Owens obviously can't win on his own. He needs his best buddy to help him retain his title at all costs, no matter what the match is. And one of these days, it's going to bite him in the ass. It's as simple as that. So, but other than that little gripe, far and away the fight of the night, no question about it. Initial rating, like I said, 4 to 4.25, but because of the finish, I'm going to give it between 3.5 and 3.75. So we'll see what happens going forward. So, MF, your thoughts on this Universal Championship main event, a rare Universal Championship match on free television?
Yes, indeed. I can only give this about 2.75 to 3 stars because, like Michael Bullock said, the ending absolutely took the life out of the fight. And I mean, if this was your way of saying, look, you even made it very clear, you did not want Roman Reigns or Chris Jericho interfering in the fight, and Jericho blatantly interfered in the match, which was supposed to be a one-on-one. Yes, it was no DQ because you can't disqualify Jericho for what he did, but come on, there has to be some kind of repercussions after that fight. And I'm sorry, I agree with Michael Bullock. I am just as upset. I'm just as frustrated as he was, but not in the way that he would want, not in the way that I would have thought. I mean, it was a good match. I mean, there was some great spots when Rollins threw himself off the top of that balcony to land on Kevin Owens and just all that stuff. It was a great battle. And then, yeah, so I mean, left to be desired is the heartbreak at the end, but it is what it is. So, Anthony, let's move on.
And now we move on to our overall review of this show, and I will start it off. I'm going to give it between 6.5 to 7 out of 10. I felt tonight was a very solid follow-up to last night's pay-per-view, and they actually set 2 title matches, not just for next week's Raw, and 1 for the inaugural edition of 205 Live. That is a refreshing change. Fight of the night, no doubt about it, the main event, the Universal title main event, Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, no DQ. Second best fight of the night, the tag team title match with the New Day against Sheamus and Cesaro. And then rounding out the top 3, I got to say, was that triple threat number 1 contenders match in the Cruiserweight division with Rich Swann going over TJ Perkins and Noam Dar. And then you had some solid but not overly spectacular 2-star matches, several 2-star matches. The women's tag team match with Sasha and Bayley going over Charlotte and Nia Jax. And then another 2-star match with Braun Strowman and Sami Zayn, and even with the Club and the Golden Truth in that tag team contenders match. And then throw in 3 really good in-ring segments with the highlight reel segment, the Goldberg promo, the opening promo by Goldberg, and one other 2-star match, Cedric Alexander and Arya Daivari, and then of course that segment with Charlotte explaining her attack on Bayley from Survivor Series. So yeah, story and there was actual storyline progression on this show tonight, which is hard to believe. And overall, the final match, the main event, made this show along with the solid Goldberg segment at the beginning. So for me, it's between 6.5 and 7 out of 10. So one of the better Raws we've seen in a while. Hard to believe, even though for the most part, this show has been very piss poor ever since that awesome first show. When the week after the brand extension went down, the week after the draft, when we had that first Raw, the new era. I mean, that was far and away the best show, and that's still the best show. And then pretty much from the second show on, it went downhill, and not in a good way. But this is one of those rare shows that was, I can't believe I'm saying it, actually not half bad. So good job. So 6.5 to 7 out of 10 is my rating. MF, your overall rating for this night after Survivor Series edition of Monday Night Raw?
6.5 is my rating for the show. There was definitely some good moments for the show, but a lot of cutouts here tonight, to say the very least. And whenever you have a 3-hour show, there's always that doubt of how they're going to play out. But look at what we got next week. Storyline progression, a tag team title fight, a women's championship fight. Charlotte, North Carolina looks like it's going to be a very big show next week. So, I mean, there's definitely that. There's going to be the fallout from tonight's main event from the world title. How's that? Well, for the Universal title, I should say. How's that going to play out? So there's enough storyline progression that you can build off of next week. So, no doubt about it. But 6.5 is my rating. So, Mike Bullock, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it about 6.5 out of 10 as well. So you guys pretty much touched on everything. So Floria, let's move on to your Tony's take.
Yes, and Impact Wrestling, it is the show. One quick little note, of course, don't forget, 2 weeks from tonight, on Monday, December 5th, when we come at you for Ridiculously Raw, that's when I will have my first review of 205 Live, in addition to Impact Wrestling. So Just wanted to make that real clear. So, all right, let's get into this past week's edition of the show. From the Impact Zone in Orlando, Florida, of course, and what is this? We actually started off with a wrestling match and not a elongated talking segment. I'm shocked. For one, I'm shocked. But nonetheless, it was a non-title match. Grand champion Aaron Rex one-on-one with Jesse Goddard. Winner of the match in about 6 minutes via a submission, Jesse Goddard. Jesse Goddard actually wins the match. Based on my rating system here, third best fight of the night. I'm giving it 2 3/4 stars. This was a pretty good match. Goddard needed the win and keeps turning on good performances. Rex, however, feels like he's sleepwalking through his matches. So that's all I can say on that. And then we go into Knockouts tag team action. Sienna and Laurel Van Ness, accompanied by Maria Kanellis Bennett, a part of the ladies squad, if you will, going up against Brandy Rhodes and her mystery partner, which ended up being the former 5-time Knockouts champion and one of my personal favorites, Madison Rayne. Hey, girl. How you doing? Winners of the match in 6.5 minutes. It was Brandy Rhodes and Madison Rayne. Second worst fight of the night. I'm giving it 1.5 stars. Bless Sienna. She tried. But Brandy is not good at all. I'm sorry. Just like this match, Brandy pinning Sienna was a poor choice. Sienna should have been so much more for TNA, but the booking of the division has been so poor and focused solely on Maria Kanellis Bennett and Gail Kim. Then we move on to a fatal 4-way number 1 contenders match for the World Heavyweight Championship. The Miracle Mike Bennett versus Ethan Carter III versus Trevor Lee versus Bobby Lashley. Winner of the match in 14.5 minutes and the new number 1 contender for the World Heavyweight Championship, Ethan Carter III, EC3, with the $1 Million Dream submitting Trevor Lee. Second best fight of the night, solid 3 stars. Once they got past all of the cliche fatal 4-way stuff, it developed into a good match with a really fun closing stretch. Trevor Lee had a really good performance here and looked as if he belonged, which is not a surprise if you've seen his work outside of TNA, mainly in Jeff Jarrett's promotion, the Global Force Wrestling. Then we move on. We had a Fact of Life segment with Eli Drake. Ethan Carter III was the guest, and they set up a match. They set up a match during this where Eli Drake, here's the stipulation. Drake said if EC3 won, he keeps his title shot, and he promises not to challenge for the title for 1 year. And EC3 again says he offered that deal, but he wants Drake in the title scene because he wants him to step up so he can be better. EC3 declines, but he says he knows Drake came so close and wants it. EC3 wants the match to see who is the better man. He'll put his title shot on the line, but says if he wins, Eli Drake has to shut his mouth. He cannot talk for the rest of 2016. And Eli Drake accepts. Drake and EC3 have been really fun together, and I do agree with many that a possible double turn may work best for both. So we're going to have to keep a close eye on that. So by default, the segment of the night, because there wasn't really that many talking segments, which is always a good thing. I like more wrestling than talking, honestly. Then we had a match. My man, Basil Baraka. You know how much I love that. He went one-on-one with Mahabali Shera. Winner of the match in 3.5 minutes, it was Mahabali Shera. Absolute dud. Worst fight of the night. This was a lifeless and bad match between two guys pretending to be professional wrestlers. They did stuff, it wasn't any good, and no one cared, while the commentary team intentionally lied to us. So, done. And then we move on to the main event, a 3-on-2 handicap match. TNA World Heavyweight Champion Eddie Edwards and his partner, Brother Nero of the Broken Hardys, Jeff Hardy. They went up against all 3 members of the DCC, Cowboy James Storm, Bram, and MF's boy from Ring of Honor, Eddie Kingston. The winners of the match, in 13 minutes and 50 seconds, the DCC. They go over in this main event. Trying to see who got it. James Storm, a super kick, a last call super kick on Jeff Hardy for the 1-2-3. No question about it. This was the fight of the night. 3.5 stars. A very enjoyable main event. The DCC needed the win, and they came across as real threats, and they did well with that there. It wasn't pretty, but it wasn't supposed to be. They had great energy throughout, and the DCC came off as threats, setting up a tag title program and possible world title program. Remember, a frustrated Storm, quote-unquote, left TNA after feeling he was screwed out of the world titles. So that's all there is to say on that. So next week, we're going to have Eli Drake going up against but before I do that, my overall rating, solid 7 out of 10. Despite 2 really bad matches, this was a good show. Playing well off of the previous weeks and also setting the table for next week and beyond. Far from perfect and a bit uneven, but an overall good effort. So a solid 7 out of 10 for this show. Next week, Eli Drake goes up against Ethan Carter III in that stipulation match. We're going to have an elimination match in the X division, and we're going to crown a new Knockouts champion. Gail Kim had to relinquish the title due to an injury that she suffered in a recent match against Maria. So that's it. Just bear with me as I want to try to set the table for Thursday night show, which happens to be on Turkey Day. Of course, this Thursday is Thanksgiving, so let me see if I can find the. I want to make sure I have the correct information here before I relay it. Yeah, this is all going to go down Thanksgiving night, this Thursday night, and all right, just bear with me for a minute. All right, like I said, we're going to see Eli Drake against Ethan Carter III. We're going to have an X Division match. All right, so this is all I can give you for now. Team Go for Broke, DJZ, Mandrews, and Braxton Sutter against the Andrew Everett, Marche Rocket, and Trevor Lee, along with Rockstar Spud and Decay, in a triple threat elimination trios tag team match. We're also going to have an Impact Grand Championship match. Aaron Rex will defend the title against Moose. A Thanksgiving dinner segment with Maria Kanellis Bennett, Mike Bennett, Laurel Van Ness, Braxton Sutter, and Allie. And a lot of craziness in that. And then, of course, Ethan Carter III against Eli Drake. We also have that. That's got to be the X Division elimination match they were talking about. And then we're going to crown a new Knockouts champion, like I said, because Gail Kim had to relinquish the belt due to injuries. So, which I know breaks MF's heart because he's been a diehard Gail Kim mark since day one. So, and when I mean day one, I mean when she debuted in the WWE in the summer of 2003. So that's all I can say on that. So that'll do it for this. And if I missed anything, I apologize. Just watch it Thursday night, 8:00. Or if you want, DVR it. I'm sure that's what a lot of people are going to be doing. Not just because of the Thanksgiving holiday, but because, we're going to have a very interesting NFL football game on at that time when the Pittsburgh Steelers go up against the Indianapolis Colts at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. And we're going to talk about that game Wednesday night when we do our football feast. So that's it for this show. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. Of course, we're going to do our shout outs. So whoever wants it first, take it. And I know MF has that big announcement about what's going to go down on SmackDown Live. I guess he's got some major news about that, and he says I'm going to like it. I hope you're right about that, MF.
Bullock, I want you to start.
Fair enough, Michael Bullock. You start off with your shout outs, then give it to MF, and then I'll wrap it up with the future content. So Bullock, you started off. Bullock, are you with us?
Oh, I'm right here.
Okay. Your shout outs, and then give it to MF, and then I'll wrap it up.
All right. Of course, shout outs to all the tremendous fans and viewers out there who continue to support our shows, whether it's this or the Cerebral Smack Talk or Strictly Sports College Football Thursday or NFL Friday. It doesn't matter. We really appreciate it. Of course, to the First Lady, Dee Dee Woodson, couldn't be with us. Of course, to other super fans, Matt Ward and Jason Hixenbaugh. And of course, to our friends from our high school days, you guys know who you are. To Derek Ferreira for his continued success on the sports blog. So, yeah, so that's going to do for me. So I probably will not be on the Cerebral Smack Talk like per normal. Maybe not. But if not tomorrow, I'll definitely see you guys. Wednesday night for the return of the Strictly Sports Football Feast. So this is Mike Bullock saying thank you all so very much. And of course, you know the routine. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Throw it a Fortune 4 style. Bye for now and enjoy your night, everybody. So Fletch, I give it to you.
All right, guys. So tomorrow night is another edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk. However, due to some things that is going on, Anthony's going to have work commitments. I'm obviously going to have work commitments. I want to run this by the producers, so I hope I can get them approved before I do this. I'm actually going for a 10 p.m. start time. That's right. Immediately after SmackDown goes off the air, we're running. That's right. Cerebral Smack Talk for tomorrow night and tomorrow night only starts at 10 p.m. on Brace Fan 95. So we're gonna do I got, of course, SmackDown Live. We're gonna do Lucha Underground in our main event spot. I got some RWA news. I am not going to do Ring of Honor for tomorrow night. So no Ring of Honor, RWA. I got the recap and results from the Thanksgiving Throwdown and Lucha Underground, the most unbelievable Lucha Underground of the year. It was Ultimo Lucha Tres, or actually, no, it wasn't Ultimo Lucha Tres. It was Aztec Warfare. And ladies and gentlemen, it was the Royal Rumble of all Royal Rumbles. It was a battle royale, 20 participants, and when it was all said and done, yes, indeed, history was made. We crowned a new Lucha Underground World Champion. Who is the champion? When I tell you, you are not going to believe who won it all. But one thing is for sure, this will be a night you will never forget. 10 p.m. Eastern Time on BraceFan95YouTube.com. The super fans out there, much love to you guys. To my friends in the junior high and high school days, love you guys as always. 2184 crew, rock on as always. That's it. Mike Fletcher, Huzz and Ham Pounds. I'm out. Anthony, take it home.
Didn't you have an announcement about SmackDown Live or something?
No, that's the big announcement. I'm moving it up. The show's going up a half an hour earlier.
Oh, okay. Yes, and yes, I'm definitely all for that. No doubt about it. Yeah, I definitely don't mind starting at 10 on the button. No doubt about it. That's fine with me. Especially if it's going to be just us anyway, considering that Dee Dee Woodson's going to be out because of her work and family commitments, and Michael Bullock, who's always busy who has Tuesday night commitments of his own. So if it's just good old MF and the Hitman running the show, oh yeah, I'm all for a 10 o'clock start, and we can get the show done earlier, and we can fulfill our work commitments for Wednesday. So yeah. All right. Special shout out to all of our tremendous fans and viewers out there who continue to make our projects, whatever they are. We appreciate it as always. MF, on the cusp of having, he's on the cusp of having over 100 views for the Survivor Series recap show last night. I'm on the cusp of 30 views for the preview show. So that's just a testament to how great you fans are and how grateful we are for you wonderful fans out there who continue to support our projects. whether it is Ridiculously Raw or the Cerebral Smack Talk or College Football Thursday, NFL Friday, or our pay-per-view previews and recaps. I mean, we do it all for you because we love what we do. And we're chugging along in this busy season. This is our busy season right here. So, and we're loving every minute of it. Yeah, we're exhausted, but we do it because we love you guys. That's all there is to say on that. So, special shout out to our first lady and our first lady of the Wrestling Forum, the Twisted Angel, Dee Dee Woodson, along with Kevin Woodson and the entire Woodson family, Matt Ward, Jason Hicksonbaugh, Daniel Luttrell from the UK, our other first ladies, Kaiser Butler, Megan Silva, and Lexi Calloway, and our buddies from our school days, Tommy Souza, Eric Carrier, Jimmy Alden, Al Bradison, and Rob Parsons, and of course, last but not least, of course, the man behind the show, of course, the hardcore pipe bomb himself, Derek Ferreira. I mean, what else is there to say about it? I mean, he shared an announcement. He made a big announcement earlier on his Facebook. I'm going to try to get that for you. He made an announcement about something that's going on, and I want to share this real quick. Derek says, to all my readers of Sports Blog, effective December 15th, the site will be down for quite a while as they add new features and get ready to relaunch the site at a future site. Not sure when we will return, but I will notify my readers as we get closer to the date. However, during this time, I will be writing for a new website called Niume, Niume. Not only will I cover sports, but I will cover topics of interest in the world of pop culture. I'm talking video games, movies, and after an historical election, politics. I'll have more info in the next few weeks. So big news from the desk of our executive producer and Imperial Grand Poobah, the hardcore pipe bomb, Derek Ferreira. So we definitely wish him nothing but the best with that. I mean, his sports blogs are a great read. He released his newest college football power poll today, his version of the power poll. He still calls it power rankings, but we call it power poll on our show. So Derek Ferreira, more power to you. And I'll save the rest of my shout outs for Friday night. Of course, here's the groundwork. Tomorrow night, we got Cerebral Smack Talk, 10 p.m., not 10:30, 10 p.m. on MF's channel, Brace Fan 95. It looks like it's going to be MF and the Hitman running the show tomorrow night. And when we run the show, there's going to be some craziness during that. You better believe it. Looking forward to it. We'll review SmackDown Live and of course, that big Mikey's Mindset with the RWA Thanksgiving Throwdown results, as well as that Lucha Underground. I'm still trying to get over how that ended, which was awesome. And then Wednesday Night Football Feast, the 5th annual football feast. We're talking the 3 NFL games on Thanksgiving, as well as the top 25 action in college football. No show Thursday because of Thanksgiving. And then Friday night, we have NFL Friday. We'll run down the rest of the NFL action, and that's pretty much it. So that'll do it for this. So until tomorrow night for Cerebral Smack Talk, it's Ridiculously Over Anthony Floyo, the man who tells it like it is. For good old MF Michael Fletcher, for the phenom Michael Bullock, and in spirit, the Twisted Angel Dee Dee Woodson and hardcore pipe, I'm Derek Ferreira. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune Force style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Tuesday. And until Cerebral Smack Talk tomorrow night, you've been watching Ridiculously Raw right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube.com. And remember, no matter what anyone tells you, wrestling is indeed actually real. Good night, everybody.